Welcome to the WODprep podcast. I am your host, CJ. I was going to say the movement doctor because that was like right there and that wouldn't make any sense. I am joined by Seth Page, the owner of Jump Ship, and the owner of multiple gyms that we were just speaking of. And then we're also joined by the owner of Koda CrossFit and perennial games and regional athlete, Kevin Schutz. Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for joining.
I must be old because I don't have my handle on here. I just have my name.
Yeah, it's cool. Don't worry. I just learned this too. It's fine. This is
you just don't want to be found. You don't want to be found, and that's not a bad thing.
I'd like to be left alone.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. How are you guys today?
I'm good. I just finished the WODprep compete track workout. WODprep compete track workout.
What did we write today? I don't even remember. What's today? Tuesday?
Yes. They'll do a heavy 2 back squat, heavy 2 bench press, and then we did a bunch of handstand push-up stuff, that little wall facing handstand push-up complex, and then fun little gymnastics piece. And then Koda, we did a horrible echo bike workout because what we wrote for WODprep was for like one athlete, not for a group. So
sure, cool, awesome,
hello, Sarah.
Awesome. What is what's on the Jump Ship docket for today, Seth? Since this is a programming call, we might as well talk about a little bit of programming.
Honestly, off the top of my head, I don't even know. I haven't got to work out yet. It's only noon where I'm at, so I have to look. I just spent the last hour or so writing deep into late September.
Holy shit! Like your program?
I think CJ's about to go to bed where he's at.
Yeah.
No, it's 5. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so,
I wish.
So we're trying to get September done in the next week or whatever. So I try to get way ahead so that I can work on things like this with you guys. Otherwise, I'd be trying to play last minute all the time.
You might need to teach me and Kevin how to do that.
Well, it's just you have a system. I'm sure you guys both have a system, and it's just following through with building it out ahead of time. But then you have all kinds of roadblocks that come up. Like sometimes I just completely forget that you have to like do something special for holidays. Like, oops, now I got to go back and change all this stuff because I forgot to put in a workout for 9/11 coming. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like,
for sure.
Yeah, you can't go too far ahead, or you forget about the CrossFit games and other shit, and you make mistakes. But anyway, yeah.
Oh, hello, Augustus.
They were uninvited. No, this is a programming call. So Travis and JY stay kind of on the news stuff. So this is not a news podcast. We're just doing some programming with Seth. So they are they're also traders. They're committed to other things. I think JY is going to be on Savon here in like an hour. So
isn't Augustus pretty fit?
Augustus is super fit. He did. We did the one yesterday. That 45. The 3-station one.
That was a fun one.
What did you get? I didn't look at your video.
Like 1040.
Yeah, he got like 1150.
I thought you were gonna say 1039.
No. Yeah, I did it. Did you watch last night's?
I did.
Yeah.
I was pretty disappointed that you lost, CJ.
Hey, you know what? I'm not gonna keep bringing it up.
I wasn't mad. I was just kind of disappointed.
You know what? Whatever. I'm alive, which is the win. So get over it. All right. True. So JY and Travis won't be here. We might do one late tonight, or I might do one solo, depending on how late they go with Savon. Or maybe me and Travis might get on. I don't know if he's on Savon either, but we'll talk a little bit about some CrossFit later on, but not on this show. And then I will be on. Yeah, so you have to pick, it's a shot caller league, right? So like it's only for events. It's only for the events that are fully announced. So like run swim, I think is the only one where you can actually pick people, Sarah. But that's a Tyler Watkins question. But they will be active and live once the workouts are fully announced with like all the details. Okay. All right. So in this show, what we're going to do is we are going to finish programming the perfect CrossFit games. And so me and Seth programmed a framework last week. And delete that one. And so we're going to go over the framework real quick to kind of just refresh everyone of where we were. Okay. Escape.
I like how the title is The Perfect CrossFit Games, yet you and I combined have maybe put 5 hours into this, and Dave puts like 500 hours into this every year. But no, it's cool. It's going to be perfect.
It's going to be perfect. All right. Yeah. So, so just to add a text box, long run. This is what we kind of came up with. We won't go over all the pieces to it. What's that there? Go away. There we go. Sweet. Okay. I have a lot of screens open here. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So basically we have 13 scored events. We came up with long run to start, some sort of like Highland Games carry event 2. And so basically we have these frameworks that me and Seth took the week, 2 weeks, maybe like 2 days, really. I don't know, however long we worked on it, to take this framework and then write a program and then fit it within this framework. So we'll basically put them both up there. Kevin will help us maybe decide and make a few edits.
Just probably ridicule.
And Kevin basically just takes the programming that I sort of lay out in a framework and is like, this sucks. Let's do something else.
That's not fun.
Not fun. He never says it's dumb. He always says it's not fun. So anyways,
I think this will be cool though, because
just a couple
is coming at it from a balance standpoint and not like a Dave Castro standpoint of like a good test and a fun to watch test, you know?
Right. And I took that into consideration. All right. So a couple things to mention. Kevin and me are programming or have programmed the Koda Iron Games, which is October 12th and 13th, which is in Louisville, Colorado, or Denver, Boulder area. If you are in that area and you want to do a team of 3, masters team of 3, or individual RX and scale, come over. It's going to be a really fun competition. 2 days. Everyone who signs up will get, or at least the first 250, and we're almost at that gap, will get a pair of strike movements with your sign up. New colorway that isn't announced or that isn't released yet. So that will be included in your signups, which basically pays for your sign up. That's October 12th and 13th.
We're about 75% full, so we still have spots left, but getting closer to full.
Yep. And then Box Basics and Born Primitive have teamed up with WODprep to do our Heat 1 shot caller league. As Sarah said, that's fucked up currently, but that's not our fault. Join the league, have fun. And pick winners, win money. Box Basics giving away $500, which is a lot of shoes. Born Primitive is $200, which is some shoes and jorts. I was hoping that they were just going to give jorts and I was just going to take them, but Ben was like, they gave a gift card. I was like, fuck. And finally, thanks to our sponsor, Third Z. Third Z is the sleep supplement that I've used for years. Justine is a great friend. We've been working together and making content together for years with WODprep. And they are our first true host, sponsor of the podcast. So thank you, Third Z.
Nice.
Scan the code, WODprep 15% off. And then make sure to hang out. If you are a Third Z user, Third Z is doing a 30% off, like a 3-bag order, which is a lot of money off during the game starting the 8th, I think. And so our code will, the WODprep 15, and this link will get you there as well. All right. Enough of that. Enough of the boring stuff. Let's dig into some programming. All right. So what I'm going to do is basically I will just copy and paste and do a little formatting, and then we will kind of go into each one. Cool? Everyone good with that?
Yeah. Okay. Honestly, though, how much time did you spend on writing your workouts? Because that's a pretty daunting task to create the CrossFit Games.
It was. We were camping this weekend, so I did a little bit here and there. And so what I found was the biggest thing I struggled with was when I would come back to it. I'm like, oh shit, I don't remember where I was, and like my kind of like framework. And so like I finished it and I had like muscle ups like 3 times, and I was like, oh shit. And I was like, all right, we got to rework this. And so that happened to me a couple of times going through it, which was rather annoying. All right, so boom. All right, so event 1 was a long run, and we both chose a 10K run, and I think I did the Pendleton run exactly, which is, I believe, 11K. Can everyone see this?
You might have to zoom a little more.
Zoom in more?
Maybe a little, if you can. That's definitely better.
Cool. So you chose a 10K run, exact distance. It's not an hour, but the intensity will be turned up. And so I went with a full trail run. I wanted to get them out. And so I kind of felt like there was a like no restrictions here. So I want like they flew them out, whatever that year was, right? 17 or 16 when they left. And so that was kind of like my thought process was, wherever it is, the Pendleton run, I think was just so grueling and so challenging that I felt like it was just a great start to the weekend.
I definitely like the Pendleton run. I just chose the 10K run, basically flat ground, because I think a lot of people can relate to a 10K. And I think it's really interesting to see the tippity top CrossFit Games athletes do tests that others can relate to and see really who can push compared to, a decent runner or even just someone at your gym who's the best runner or whatever. So I like that distance. Plus it's not so long that you have to be super careful with the pacing. Like people have done this before, so they know when they can turn it up and not. And you'd see some pretty brutal finishes, I think, trying to scrape for points and something like that.
Sure.
Do you ever feel like we need to like protect the image of the athletes sometimes? Because I always look at some of the workouts like this, and even if if a trail run solves the problem, but even if you were to throw in like a heavy sandbag that you have to put on your shoulders to carry the first 500 meters or 1K or something, it makes it where it highlights what CrossFitters are great at at the top of the sport. Where I worry that like a 10K run compared to the best 10K runners in the world is just like so unimpressive that it doesn't really like highlight the CrossFit community. And that's just a small example of the whole thing. Yeah, but it is cool that they can go run a 10K and they can see how they stack up.
I definitely get that point. I actually don't think of it in terms of protecting the athletes. I know they're going to fall somewhere between your mom's turkey trot and the Olympic 10K, if that's a thing or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So they're going to be somewhere in between there. But we all know that like if you're running a sub 40-minute 10K, we know, damn, like that person's really hauling as a runner. And then if that person runs a sub 40 10K and then also hits 365 in the clean ladder later on, you go, well, I don't know a single person who can do that in the whole world. So like, that's crazy. So those sort of things, I think those highlight the athletes better when you can think of it through that lens, as opposed to comparing one-off events to just like the Olympian. Cause that's embarrassing. But when you compare the whole picture, I think it makes people really go, holy shit, that's actually pretty crazy.
Do you think most people do compare the whole picture though? Or
right. That was my next. I think CrossFit compares the whole picture, but like,
that's up to us to do, right?
Yeah, but it's not us. That's not the. But we're in theory, when we're trying to grow something, we're not trying to impress us. We impress us all the time, right? We stroke our own egos every day, right? We know what they're doing is completely, outlandish and hardly of this world most of the time, but everyone else doesn't, right? And so.
In that theory, then we shouldn't do weightlifting ladders either, because that's embarrassing compared to the best weightlifters in the world.
I disagree though, because even like weightlifters can look at that and be like, wow, like I'm not going to be able to do that many reps in a row. And they've tried that. And I look back to like the baseball throw. Do you remember the baseball throw?
Of course.
Yeah.
Like, that's the extreme example. And I played baseball, so I would love for that event to come up as an athlete. Mm-hmm. But it's like, you maybe if you do some weightlifting and some sandbags, then you throw a baseball, no one can argue at that point, but all you see is the YouTube highlights,
Yeah. And I guess it does make for low hanging fruit for YouTubers to shit on CrossFitters or whatever. But I personally like a cleaner, more pulled apart test at the highest level. I like to see the old school way of thinking, the CrossFitter, beats the weightlifter and gymnast in running, but it loses to the runner. It beats the, what I mean? So each way, I like to see the balance of that. And I like to see what they can do on a high level in these single modality tests. I personally just like that. Yeah. I mean, I get where you're coming from, but I don't know.
Well, and I also like, I'm not a huge fan of like, it's not that I don't like single modality. It's that I don't like when, it's so skewed towards like one type of athlete or another. But I get, we're looking at this and looking ahead to the second event, like it evens out right away in this competition
right.
That we come up with. So I can stomach it, but if it was like, there wasn't, anything heavy, till later, but I think even just like a trail run kind of fixes that issue. But I do get where you're coming from, where it's like you want the everyday athlete to be able to compare their scores.
Yeah. I think, anyway, we don't have to beat up event one too much, but we can talk about this.
All right. So what's the verdict? Are we thinking 10K flat run or Pendleton 11K?
No, for the spectators, we'll go with the 11K up a trail. I mean, that's obviously more exciting to watch.
I think there should be a sandbag on the first 1K.
No.
But
you
can beat
fired.
I got plenty of that shit coming.
Event 2 solves it. So
yeah. You're fired. Already off the show. All right.
Self-appointed director of fun for this competition here.
Director of fun. Exactly. Yep. All right. So all right. So
whoa. Where do we what's going on?
Well, we each have a workout. And so we are comparing both of them. If I can get it there. There we go. So talk me through yours, Seth.
Okay, so have kind of a 3-round little event where you have to kind of imagine it, right? Out on like a field or something like that. You got a 50-yard heavy Zercher yoke carry. So you have, I don't even know what the weight would have to be. You'd have to test to find out what the struggle is. Maybe it's done in 1 to 3 efforts, depending on the athlete and the size and all that. When you get to the end of that 50 yards, or maybe it's 25 out and back, like I wrote that, whatever. You get to the end and there's 5 like weighted kegs or 5 weighted kettlebells. You do the over the head reverse toss up over the high hurdle, like in strongman and Highland Games style throw. You go back, come back with the yoke again. The next 5 are heavier, go back, come back, and the last 5 are the heaviest 5. So you get a mix of like, you have to be super powerful and strong, A, to move the yoke, but B, to generate power to throw it high enough. Obviously, a lot of testing needs to go into that. And then you need some coordination too, because you have to be accurate. You can't just throw it powerfully. You have to get it up over that hurdle, which I'm sure you guys have seen that in strongman events before, where they throw the keg or whatever. Something like that. So you get to mix a lot of components together, still favoring the bigger, stronger athlete in a big way. But there is also a conditioning, breathing component to this as well that makes the accuracy a little more challenging and so on.
I like it.
How high would the bar be?
I mean,
like really high is my question. Like not just
12 feet, maybe 15 feet, something like that. Whatever they use in strongman.
Yeah, whatever they use in strongman.
Tug of war from yours, CJ.
What happened?
Did you have tug of war?
I did, and then I was like, I'll talk through it. And so I had yoke later, and then I took it out, and so I wanted yoke instead of tug of war because tug of war just wouldn't quite fit. But by the way, tug of war would be fucking awesome at the CrossFit Games. So I went a little bit different.
Team division. That
well, they did that at Rogue individual, and it was sick. So I went a little bit different, and I really like this format because it gets more events in. More things to watch. And so I went with kind of like a 3 to 4 game event and then like an average scoring. Like, so there's like a first, second, third throughout all 4 implements. And so I did like a Husafel max distance carry, right? You know, I think forever they had like the Africa Stone, right? And when they were doing strongman, you know, however long they were doing that, right? And so something like that, the kettlebell over the beam, but not under fatigue, like just for like time to get, you know, whatever it is. And so it's just a race. And then like a yoke carry for distance and like an Atlas Stone race, right? So all of these,
is that similar to the peg throw?
Say that again.
What's a kettlebell over the beam?
Yeah. Same thing. The keg throw. Yeah, I just couldn't think of the name, but it's the same exact thing.
I'd be worried somebody would like have the kettlebell come back and like land on them.
Well, that's what the keg looks like. The keg is exactly the same thing.
Same.
I would be worried about that too. But
and so I went with like really leaning into the Highlands Games to like, you know, bring out some of that, you know, like here's what we can do relative to what you guys do sort of thing. So kind of like taking the feel from your 10K flat run and let's, you know, do something that a bunch of other people do, right? Like, you know, they do the car carry, right? Or the refrigerator carry, and we'll do a yoke carry, you know, for like max distance in X amount of time or something like that. And so each thing would lean into a score. And then there'd be an average placing for the whole mini event.
That's kind of cool.
I like CJ's. I like watching that much, but I almost feel like you get the same leaderboard out of both workouts. You know what I mean?
What do you mean? Like 1 and 2?
Let's say Seth's workout is worth 100.
Oh yeah. For sure. Yeah, the same person wins.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
Yeah. I would almost want to like meet in the middle and do 2 or 3 mini events, and you know what I mean?
Okay. So let's write it.
I like Seth's workout and maybe doing
so maybe this is like, maybe it's 2 scored, maybe there's one of this, and then like so you have a yoke carry, and then maybe the next one is
what about like a Husafel? I forget.
Husafel. So maybe it's something like this.
Distance, like a set distance, and then you do the Atlas Stone.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking. So it's like
cool.
200 foot Husafel, like, so then it's, I don't know, rest, I don't know, X time. Doesn't matter, right? Enough time that it looks nice, and then it goes like 200 foot Husafel carry into Atlas Stone. What's it called? It's just called the Atlas Stone.
I think when they put them on the podium or whatever it is.
Yeah, Atlas Stone. I don't know, 4 stones.
Ladder.
It doesn't have to be too crazy, right? Because like they're already going to be a little fatigued, so it'll probably be like 3 stones or 4 stones, right? Something like that. 3 or 4 stones, and then a score for each one, right? So 50 points, 50 points.
I think that could be cool.
Works for me.
I like it. All right, 50 points. 50 points. Sick. Cool. I like it. Teamwork. Anyone in the comments have negatives to say? No? Atlas Stone, just a concrete ball. Yeah, but it's called an Atlas Stone. I don't know.
Pretty much.
It is a concrete ball. I mean, do they make them out of anything else? Just concrete every time, right? I know, right?
Yeah.
I think it's just always concrete. I remember like a bunch of CrossFit gyms had them forever, and then they would break, and I'm like, well, we don't have those anymore. Before they like really made D-balls.
And they're so dusty. Every time you drop it, it leaves a dust pattern all over your mats.
Yep, for sure. All right. Whoops. Figure that out. There we go. All right. Classic couplet triplet. I did everything in my power not to write Amanda 45 right here. And then obviously Amanda 45 was just released. I was like, this fits perfect. It's going to be
I didn't see that. That actually was released.
Yeah, it was released.
Yeah.
That's funny. You guys called it.
Yeah, I think everyone did. It just made sense.
No, I think Castro was watching. I think Castro was watching your show and was like, "That's a good idea."
Well, JR said it first forever ago, and he was like, "It just fits because they've done it." Why does this keep doing this? Here we go. In a new event, like the new venue, they've done it. They've done Amanda all 3 times now. They did it twice. All right. You guys see that? Good. So I went with a little more basic CrossFit. I just went 4 rounds for time. Funny, we did drag rope, 75 drag rope, 25 GHD sit-ups, and 5 rope climbs. Right, midline beatdown, grip killer for sure. And
is that a legless? Is that a 20
no? It's just a regular 20 rope climb. Regular. I think that'll be
like a 20 foot.
Maybe.
I feel like it's usually a little extra distance.
Maybe I don't know. I mean, they're doing 25 feet, or they're doing 25 rope climbs for the event 4, and it's for sure going to be a regular 15 feet. I just think 20 is so many, right? With the midline fatigue. Yeah. I mean, I still think a round of this is going to take a decent little chunk, right? I mean, I think this is like probably 3 to 4 minutes around, 3 minutes around. And I think grip is going to get,
maybe even less for some people. That's
think so. Even 75 drag rope double unders after round 1.
Well, no, I'm saying, I would say 3 minutes around is pretty fair on that. I think people move, at least to start things out. Yeah, the 75 drag rope still probably 60 seconds tops. 25 GHDs is a minute or so when people cycle transitions. Fast.
Sure.
And some people are so fast up and down the rope now. It's pretty crazy.
Okay, so maybe it's a little low on volume, but...
Yeah. I mean, I still think you're 11 to 15 minutes, so I think you have the same time domain as me. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's that bad at all. I have the drag rope as well. I like that because just not practiced that often, I don't think. 100 reps, 20 bar muscle ups, 100 reps, 10 shorty rope climbs. So the old school chopped ropes that are like
3. You have to jump. Yeah.
3-4 feet off the ground. You don't have to jump, but then you're doing more legless to start that thing off before you can use your feet. So it just kind of rewards people depending on how they want to climb basically, or jump. And then I just like throwing the pegboard there at the end under fatigue, up and down 5 times. A few years ago, 5 would have seemed crazy. Nowadays, 5 is going to be unbroken from the best athletes. So it's just not even under a huge amount
at the end of that workout.
I think so. The best, I think absolutely. Yeah. Not everybody. Definitely not everybody.
Yeah.
But I think you'd see some of the better guys fly right up and down that 5 times at the end of that. But
I think if that's the case, they probably paced it way too cautiously though,
That could be because it is a one-time through. But either way, even if it's 2 efforts to do 5, it's still going to be quick. I still don't think 5 is challenging on the volume side of things. So I think overall you have a shorter time. Probably a lot of guys are 8 to 12 and some ladies are 9 to 14 and something like that. But I just like that. That's the gymnastics volume. I kind of like most of it's pulling featured, and then the drag rope there just to throw a little wrinkle in it in between movements.
I'm gonna give my my critical feedback on both. I would just want to change the order on sets personally. From a spectator standpoint, at the end of the workout with 5 pegboard ascents, it'd be really, really tough to see who's winning. I would almost want to see it just backwards, just the 5 pegboard ascents first, then the rope climbs, then like 20 bar muscle ups to finish the workout, and maybe have like 10 at the first bar, then 10 at the second bar. And then even like same idea for CJ's, like the last round, you can tell who gets to the GHD first on the last round and who gets to the rope. But I'd almost want to just make it like 7-5-3 on the rope climb, so that like once that person gets to the last 3, it's obvious who's getting, it's easy to count who's winning, and you can see who's like about to win the workout.
Interesting.
And like, I'd almost want to make it 175-50 on the drag ropes and, 35-25-15, but that'd be way too confusing. So even just changing the rope climbs might make it a lot easier to track who's winning. But I like both these workouts a lot.
I don't hate your idea, and you just have to set the floor up appropriately, right? You got to put the rubber out with the numbers and then move the rope forward, and like all that stuff can happen just fine. So I feel like you could do it either way. But yeah, I guess a lot of my stuff did have a little bit of spectator friendliness in mind, but also probably that was like third on my list of things I was trying to check off when building these. But I do like the idea of switching it. I don't hate that at all.
I do like you.
Yeah, I like you, and I like that you want to switch it. I would actually flip the whole thing like you have. Maybe you even just start with the pegboard ascents, like literally upside down pegboard ascents into your first set of drag rope, and maybe you finish with the drag rope double unders. And
do we want to make it? Do we want to make it a couple more? Do we want to do like, I don't know. Is 5 enough to start?
I wonder if with 3. And I guess looking ahead, I don't know as a programmer if I would want to use up bar muscle ups, rope climbs, and pegboard all in one workout. Is the only reason I wouldn't like that one. Like I don't know what you guys have planned later.
Right. I feel confident based on what I have left, which you'll probably see. I feel confident based on using these 3 with what I have coming. That was definitely in my mind as well.
So do we want to flip it? Whole thing? Is that the I like it the way it is. I like increasing difficulty, but I'm totally fine either way.
On some workouts, but like I feel like
it's
not spectator friendly, and I feel like
I think it is. I don't know how you can say it's not. I mean, how they've had pegboards to finish workouts or to be in workouts, and they just go like this. I mean, they've never like been able to dignify besides a finger in the air how many they've done.
Not to make the decision more difficult, but also pegboards at the end lead to dramatic things, right? They lead to somebody taking a chance
going to failure,
falling.
right?
So
no one's going to fail in the bar muscle up. Like I feel like at that point it's going to be 10 and 10, and you're forcing them to break, right? So like forcing them to break at 10, they're going to be unbroken for sure, no matter what. I think.
Well, more so like I think this early in the CrossFit Games, I like to see the drama on like the final like that. I think this early in the CrossFit Games, this forces people to pace quite a bit. You know what I mean? If I'm approaching this workout, I'm going to pace a lot more than if it starts with pegboards, then it goes to rope climbs, then it goes to bar muscle ups, and I can, push a lot more and get a little deeper. Whereas like, I'm just going to be sandbagging it until I get towards the end. Does that make sense?
So that does make sense if you want to finish 27th at the CrossFit Games, but that doesn't make sense if you want to be a top 10 athlete. Those guys that need to make their points up here because they struggled with the strongman event before are going to be going for gold. I just think that some people throw caution to the wind a little more at the CrossFit Games than elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, and like if the reps were a little bit more manageable, I agree with you. I still think there's gonna be some pacing going on with 10.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always like general strategy, but I like finishing with the pegboard. I'm gonna lean into that. So
okay,
my podcast is making the final call.
I'm cool with that. I'm just
We're making the final call.
The problem is we could just argue about this all day and no one's ever right. It's just you could tweet. This is probably what they do, right? This is probably what they do literally for months on end. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind. All right. So longer, heavy grunt work, moving objects A to B. Now I had this initially as just like moving like 5 implements 100 yards, like multiple sandbags, a farmer's carry, a yoke, just like moving down the field. And I was like, well, I don't know how entertaining that is. So I changed it. And so whoops. All right. A lot. We just have to find a way to fit it in there. We'll zoom in. All right. So
good
here are our options. Huh?
It's a good thing for Zoom.
I know, right? Yeah, for sure. Seth, go first.
Yeah, so kind of chipper style, 1,000-meter row, 100-foot pig flip. I'm imagining this is like a morning outside workout across a field of some kind. So I kind of used like the 100-yard idea, 300 feet. 42 line facing burpees, just like a fast, real like gasser in between your flips. Another 100-foot pig flip, another 42 burpees, another 100-foot pig flip, and then the row. So really, the pig flip is the big separator there. But for those that struggle, it is. But for those who struggle with the pig, the smaller athletes maybe can try to motor themselves back in the hunt on the higher rep burpees midfield. You think of like the Hatfields and Adler's a bad example, but shorter athletes that would have trouble flipping the pig.
Yeah.
They can get themselves back in the fight.
42 is an interesting number. Where'd you come up with 42 from? Just cool.
we use a lot of 21s, and so I just kind of I had a 21 at one point, and I'm like, I need twice as many burpees.
I feel like we do a lot of 84s random like distance too. There's always an 84-foot walking lunge on to finish. I always feel like it's like 80 something.
Just one of those numbers.
Yeah, and so I kind of went. I was like going back and forth on a pig. I definitely wanted to move it. And then I sort of just like moved some other stuff around later in the week. But I went with just like a real dense kind of piece, 30 cal air bike, 50 wall balls, and then a pig flip distance. So basically rounds 1 and 2, it's, I don't know, 7, 8 flips. I don't know. I was thinking like a distance, something. It could be 80 feet or 70 feet. And then, so it's 70 feet out, 70 feet back. And then on round 3, it's a finish. So it's like double the distance or, like 30% more finish through the end. Right. And so it's an increase in time. I like yours more. I think yours is balanced for like a more balanced athlete. I don't have wall balls anywhere else in the week. Do you? I can't remember.
I think that I played with it. I don't know if it's in Sunday or not. I think I had them, but I can't remember.
I don't think you do. If you don't have wall balls, I would like to see like this pig flip, like a dense amount of wall balls, and I think we'd really be like there. But I don't know if that leans into the bigger athlete there too.
Yeah, and I'm having trouble visualizing that. So is it where the pig advances 100 feet every time, or is there like the second pig flip is like 50 out, 50 back? And
so it's like you're working across a football field. Basically, you got a rower on each end. So you start with your row.
I was imagining one rower. That makes sense.
Yeah. Flip your pig a third of the way. Do your burpees. Flip your pig another third. Yeah.
I was imagining coming back to the same rower. The only thing I don't like about sets, I'm going to say it again, is just like finishing on the row. I love the balance of the workout. But do you think it would be? I mean, would it be exciting to watch? Like, we could definitely
if you can get them on the screen. If you can get the rower on the screen, which they can, right?
I love that. Like if you have the boats,
100%. I think if there's rowing moving forward, if there's rowing, like besides maybe opening a workout, right? Like just run the wires, right? Like put it under, just run the wires, do the boats, like. There's no way they could have made the marathon row exciting, but they did because you could fucking see the boats, right?
Yeah.
The boats on there. And I think with the boats, that makes it an epic race. 1,000 meters. It's hard. But the only other thing though is is after about 10 seconds, no one's catching that person, right?
Yep,
Like
yep.
pretty much no matter what, right? And so like it is pretty much a race to the rower. And then once you get on the rower, it's like, unless you were on at the same time, it's probably not too much of a race at that point. But, you know, who's to say that that's a big deal or not?
I think you could see
I'm to say that's a big deal.
I think you could see from the slowest athlete on the male side to the fastest on the male side, you could see a decent 30-second window.
Yeah.
So there is, it's not
seconds,
minutes.
You think so?
From the slowest to the fastest? Oh yeah, for sure. In 1,000.
Just on a 1K row, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
From
I
the
can see
shortest.
Yeah.
So, but it's a thin window, right? You got to be there.
Sure.
You got to see 4, 5, 6 people getting on within 15 seconds of each other to see that kind of race at the end. I do agree with that. But I think the test is still legitimate in itself, even if it's not the best visual. Yeah,
I think it's a great test. There's going to be a lot of separation. I don't know if there would be too many great races there, but I think it's a great test and very balanced.
Do you think the burpee separation is enough for the smaller athlete, that amount?
Yeah.
84 is a lot. So
84 is a lot.
It keeps the more balanced athlete in the game. So it takes away from the high end strength, and it takes away from the little guy and puts it to the ideal CrossFitter's bag, right?
Can the pig be a box? Can you do a burpee box over on the pig?
You could.
I like that.
You could.
I was maybe just like a smaller number.
Cool. Yeah,
not maybe not 42. like 30.
Gosh, that would be a rough workout. I like it.
Can you jump onto the pig? I feel like you've done that before.
You could do lateral. I don't know if you could jump all the way over.
But you could put your hands. You could put your hands on the pig, right?
Yeah.
Like you could burpee, put your hands on the pig to hop over and like hop your feet over, like you hopping over like a fence or something. I think
that'd be a cool little switch up.
And like, how many? What do we think? You want to do like a random number, like 34?
I think you just call it 30. I think 30 is a fine number of burpees.
Like 30.
If you're going over the pig.
I like it.
How many pig flips is 100 feet? I can't conceptualize that.
Probably like 14 or 15. It's a lot. This is a long workout for sure. It's dense. This is probably looking at 50 pig flips would be my guess.
Think back to the burden run. They flipped the pig the entire field, and that was like probably 5 minutes or so to get it from one end to the other.
And that pig was technically shorter. That pig was a little bit shorter, I think. I don't think it was
lighter than what they've been using recently. Right. So obviously you have to, when you test this, you may not have the heaviest pig in the world here. You got to play with the weight to make it make sense and everything. But yeah. Remember, these are all rough. This is the perfect CrossFit Games, but it's all rough drafts because everything needs to be tested and adjusted
for sure. I like yours better for sure. I feel like I have something kind of similar later too. I do definitely think we need a really dense set of wall balls, but we don't have one. I had it later, so we might have to fit it back in.
Can do.
I like it. Sweet. All right.
We were talking on our WODprep programming call. I like something like the muscle up biathlon with wall balls, with heavy wall balls would be awesome to watch.
For the penalty?
Undo.
Yeah, like you'd have a penalty every time you break. Oh, I'd love watching that.
You'd have people just melting down, coming back on the rings. Just like, that would be something. All right. Well, here we go.
Sorry, guys. All right.
I looked away for a second.
This one was I really kind of enjoyed this one, especially now that we took out some wall balls. So I went with another like average finish type thing, and a skills medley. So we decided a skills medley. That was what we decided to put here. I went with a box jump. I just think it would be cool to actually see. We could make it safe before fucking Kevin loses his shit of like, no, it's really dangerous. All right, on to the next.
There's a difference between what I program for Gen Pop and what
I'm just letting you know. All right, we're moving on. All right, so
we'll throw kettlebells up over our head. If they land on their heads, they land on their heads.
That's right. Who fucking cares? Max L-sit. I like L-sit. I saw yours was on the rings. I like on the plates because it gives like, I mean, I assume we could set up the same thing, but like a lowering point, right? Like your legs can only go so much. So like if you're above the ground, it is what it is. And so we have a 4-minute window to, this one was 4 to 8 minutes. And then AMRAP low strict ring muscle ups like they did at the games last year.
I like that. That's cool.
And then so it's just 12-minute window. They all go through kind of like the total, but like way less. But you basically get as much the box jump, you can take as many attempts as you want in that 4 minutes. The L sit, you can take as many attempts, and the L sit, you're only going to take 2, right? Maybe one,
probably
right?
one.
Yeah, maybe like one. Well, like if you just wanted to, like, theoretically, you could like do a warm up, right? Like just to like get a little bit for like 10 seconds or something, and then make an attempt at, whatever. But if you push that L sit too late too, there's some strategy there. Like you're going into a lowering muscle up, which you probably have to do some L sitting as well. So, anyways, so that was where mine was, which we're pretty close.
I honestly wasn't super excited with mine. I just couldn't come up with the way that I wanted more skills to come out and be represented. But yeah, the L sit on the rings, I like the rings because last time they did it, it was on parallettes. So I think the rings adds a new element, and I would definitely have a box under their feet. They used plates before. So like you can only, once you hit the plate, you're done. Once you hit the box, you're done, sort of thing. And then I like the strict pull up. Just because again, they did this in the past years and years ago. It'd be interesting to see what the weights are now, and you don't even have to have a tough standard of like, it just could be a weighted pull up because you can't even kip after a certain point. Kipping's out the window once you're hanging enough weight from you anyway. There's no advantage to it. In fact, it probably hurts you. So those are the 2 tests. I was like, oh, those would be great to see, but I certainly would be open to a more broad test of skills, and I just didn't come up with any.
I like a combination of these. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the box jump. I think it'd be really fun to do. Not even safety, CJ, not even like that at all. I think it'd be pretty unimpressive. I think it'd be really cool to do as an athlete, but I want to see some weighted strict pull-ups and what numbers people can hit and compare it. And then I think it'd be awesome to see the max L sit. And then I really like that low strict, ring muscle up. I could see it being like, max strict pull-ups. You have 6 minutes to establish a max. At the 6 minute or the 7 minute mark, everybody does an L sit. I think that'd be awesome to watch everybody go at the same time and like see who lasts the longest.
Right.
And then AMRAP, low ring strict muscle ups. It is 2 pulling variations, but I think a combination of those would be awesome.
But they're definitely different. Like the same person. Trish is a super troll. I love it. Trish, keep them coming. As long as you're here, that's all that matters. I like it. I like going into a strict pull up. And then it would just be an average finish, right? So max weighted strict pull up. And then like this.
You got to be good with the low ring muscle ups being very low numbers after all that, because you will have crushed your midline and your pulling ability.
True.
So, which is okay. I mean, it's great to test that capacity under fatigue. You just wonder how hard people are going to push the other 2 and then leave themselves with essentially the most boring skills show ever where someone gets 2 reps. So it's
that's true.
You maybe want to choose the way to pull up or the low ring muscle up, because I think, I don't know.
Okay.
I almost think that'd be like a primer. I would personally, I'd be more wrecked from that L sit than the weighted pull up would just like prime me. I would feel awesome on the first, strict muscle ups.
That's true.
But it's tough. Like
I think the L sit's a priority.
First. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think we got to choose. We got to choose between the weighted strict pull up and the low ring muscle up. And I mean, I think if we go into what we've seen, we've had
depending on what you guys have the rest of it, maybe determine.
Maybe we'll just like leave it there and we'll decide later. We'll come back to it.
Okay.
Give it a final. All right. So event 5, skills medley. All right. Sweet. Kevin, you at the gym?
Yeah. Can you hear the background?
Yeah, I heard the barbells. All right. So this is basically just sets. Whoops. That's over there. Is that there? All right, there we go. Cool. I didn't come up with anything. I knew we were going to be very similar, so I was just like, you already wrote it. I saw it before I looked. So just basically we did like a new version push-pull. Increasing strict hand. Here, Seth, you want to go over it?
Yeah, I mean, it basically is push-pull with slightly higher reps on the handstand push-ups, and you can play with a bigger deficit build than they had in the past too. You could leave the sled the same weight. It seemed to make sense the way it dragged across the floor, but that sort of stimulus of like really having to put your whole body into the sled drag makes for an exciting event. And then, yeah, I just think if you kept the handstand push-up the way it was back then, you don't get any separation from that anymore the way that you did in 10 years ago, whatever it was now. So yeah, just a new version of push pull.
I think it's good. I love it. I think it looks great.
I approve.
Yep. Yeah.
For once.
Solid.
I think it looks awesome. I think it's a very balanced test, and that would be some very cool finishes. Like that was one of the most exciting CrossFit Games events ever, I think.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very balanced test. Cool to watch. I think that's a great workout.
I extended the time domain out a little bit. I tried to make the volume so because the original push pull was like 4 minutes. So I like wanted it to be.
Was it really that short?
Yeah, it was super short.
Wow.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I think.
But I knew the reps were short. It was like 9,875, right, or something, or like
it was
increasing. It was increasing reps. It was 5, 6, 7, 8.
I think it was decreasing reps, increasing deficit.
No, it was definitely. I looked at it today. It was increasing reps,
okay.
Which is why I'm really surprised that it was that short. But I know like Rich and Josh went unbroken.
It was like 4 minutes or something crazy.
Yeah, I thought it was longer. It felt longer, but the sled pull at the end made it very dramatic.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
And I would keep the factor where they have to like drag the rope back across the floor and rehook it up. I liked that part of it. Like you're responsible for getting your next setup in place. It just adds an extra element.
Mm-hmm. I wrote this when I wrote it initially. It was almost the exact same thing, but I had a push, like instead of the pull. Like it wasn't a different sled because the sled got heavier, right? They hooked up a different sled each time, right?
If it got heavier, it wasn't tremendously heavier. It may have been like an extra red plate on top or something.
Yeah, so I had them push it back. Yeah. I had them push it back each time.
Interesting.
Just to, like there's an isometric hold there, right? So say if it's like pushing or even like keeping your hands tight to your shoulders, like there's going to be some shoulder fatigue there. But I mean, I think it's good. I don't want to dig too much into that one. I think it was solid. All right. So bracket style swim. We went completely different. Why does it fucking do this?
Oh,
anyways.
Well, I wasn't super happy with my I was just moderately satisfied with my swim workout. It was meh.
So I love brackets, right? And I love like a breakdown of like round 1, there's like a cut, round 2 there's a cut, round 3 there's a cut, and we hadn't had anything like that so far. So I went with basically what we wrote initially, and we could make the swim longer, but it was basically like 5 people go, 100-meter swim, 5 sandbag cleans for time, and then after round 1 like a sprint knockout round. And so each time, and then it goes down, then they do it again, or maybe it gets longer. Maybe like each round the swim gets a little longer, biases the swimmer a little bit more as long as they can get out of the first round. Trish is just lighting up the comments here. It's hard
I
to
see
focus.
that.
Here, talk us through yours.
So mine is starting with the longer swim, and then each time 150 meter swim, 5 sandbag or D-ball, whatever, to shoulder. Heavier implement 200/150. I think the swimmers, obviously, especially those if we allow like diving in and out of the pool and getting flip turns and all that stuff, the experienced swimmers gain a huge advantage getting back out of the pool before they pick up the D-ball. So they just have to be able to prove that they can handle decent weight to, continue on and stay in the lead. The swim is definitely the highlight of this. It's where the most time is going to be spent. But if you're not strong enough, doesn't matter how good of a swimmer you are, you might get stuck on a sandbag or D-ball later on if you kind of blow up. So there's a little bit of a pacing element here. Obviously, biasing the swim is a huge advantage to swimmers. But yeah, so that's the gist.
Cool. I like it.
I like the elimination bracket style. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Maybe make it a little bit longer, or maybe it maybe it opens with the sandbag cleans. But I was going to say,
why wouldn't you put the sandbag cleans first?
I don't know. I was thinking of like trying to make it maybe just a little bit more balanced, but I couldn't decide if before balances the workout for like a swimmer to a non-swimmer a little bit, or after, which I don't think it does. I think it's like a 50-50. I don't think it really makes a huge difference.
I think it would actually make a big difference, because imagine getting out of that pool, you're all soaking wet, grabbing the sandbag.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a challenge there of like grabbing a wet sandbag. I was just thinking of like the fatigue level from like the swimmer to the non-swimmer. I don't know if there's a huge difference. Does like the sandbag fatigue the non-swimmer getting into the water, or does the non-swimmer just have a little bit of like lead going into the water, and then the swimmer catches him, which could be, sort of exciting.
I think that'd be really exciting. I think even just backwards, just 5 sandbag cleans into a 100-meter swim. And then you get the little guys that catch up in the water, the big guys that crush the sandbag, maybe slow down. And plus, like, if you're a great swimmer, you're not really going to sprint that much if you have to do 5 sandbag cleans right afterwards and you're not great at sandbag cleans.
That's actually might be my favorite point of it all, is you're not going to swim that hard if you know the sandbag is going to slow you down anyway. Whereas I
think there should be a loser's bracket. I think you got to do the same amount of volume, and you got to fight for your placings, even if it's 31st.
Well, this is why I also like the fatigue from it is we're talking like 300. So like, say you get out of round 1, there's only going to be 2 or 3 more rounds. Right. Yep. And I don't think the accumulated fatigue is going to make a difference at all. Right.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm all for a loser's bracket too, for sure.
Yeah, I don't think it makes a huge difference either way.
Are we agreeing on the elimination bracket, Seth?
I like that. I like Seth's workout. I think CJ's is exciting to watch, and we don't have any sprinty workouts yet, right?
Not yet, not really.
The strongman stuff is pretty sprinty, but outside of that,
all right.
So we're programming for Koda Iron Games right now, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Good Lord.
For sure. Exactly. Yeah, that would be.
I think I'm on the wrong call.
That's right. For sure. CrossFit, the free money is by playing Heat 1, go to WODprep, shot collar, prize league, and win free money when you win the league, $500 to Box Basics. All right. All right. What's next? Event 8. All right. Starting to get dense. This is good. We got a lot of CrossFit coming.
Yes. I save my CrossFit like the games do every year for the end of the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Here we go. All right. So, and you say that, and then this is a zigzag. There's zigzag.
Wow.
I love it.
For the very end. If we're only
for
in
the very
Saturday,
end,
bro. We haven't even got started yet. Sunday's not even here.
All right, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so, all right. Make sure everyone can understand what's happening here. There we go. All right, go, Seth.
Okay, so another outdoor event, like a field sprint, but with like an obstacle course set up, like obstacles we've seen in the past, but kind of put together. So we have like the zigzag around those big cone things, whatever they were zigzagging around, into a set of some kind of hurdles. I mean, all this stuff is obviously, I don't know what it's actually going to look like, but just a bunch of obstacles, and then log over under maybe to finish. My thought would be somewhere between 40 to 60 seconds to clear the 100-yard obstacle course, depending on how fast you're going. And then at the end, you're going to do as many dumbbell thrusters as possible. So we're going to do this for 3 rounds. You're going to have 2 minutes to finish the course, get your max set of dumbbell thrusters at the heavier weight. I think it was 80, 55 I put down there. Super heavy dumbbells. That is super heavy. Yep, for sure. And then you get 3 minutes off where they kind of walk it off back to the end, and they repeat. So this isn't elimination style. It's more like accumulating dumbbell thrusters. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And then how fast you want to get to the other side allots you the time on the dumbbells.
Nice. I went with like a ringer 1, ringer 2 feel. So each one will be scored 50-50, or it could just be total time within, right? So they could be accumulated time, 30 cal row, 30 thrusters, 10 wall walks, maybe to like an elevated. So like the final step is like hands on like like a 4 to 6 inch elevation, sort of how they did on Echo Press. And rest till the 8-minute mark, 4 time, 30 cal ski, 30 burpee box jump overs, 30 cal ski. I felt like the burpee box jump overs here would like neutralize the big athlete that might have an advantage kind of like coming into the wall walk in general, like just from a power standpoint, and obviously off the ski. So I felt like this was a really balanced CrossFit workout, 2-parter. So, but we're totally indifferent. So it's gonna be tough to kind of come to a conclusion on this one for sure.
Well, at least we both have thrusters.
Right. Yeah. I was going to say we're missing some squatting volume. I don't think we've really done any squatting so far, right?
Mine's coming.
Wall balls. Yeah.
Mine's coming. Mine's coming.
Yeah. Sure. I like CJ's workout, but I feel like two parts. We've done a lot of 2 parts and skills medleys and all this stuff. I like Seth's workout, how it's written. Got a lot of squatting volume. Personally, I would have loved this programming as an athlete. I feel like it so far favors a slightly bigger athlete. So I like the 80-pound, 80-55s for the dumbbell thruster, but maybe depending on what's coming in the rest of the weekend, maybe needs to be a little lighter, but I like Seth's workout there.
All right. What are we choosing? Does anyone in the chat have an opinion? Because we're way in the different. I'm totally fine digging away from it. But I definitely want to save some of these patterns, but I think they're I think Seth has some of them in the end of the week. Yeah, I think it's good. I have a little bit of running on Sunday too, but I think this is good. This is definitely super exciting.
Yeah, from a viewership point, it's something that you can get behind pretty easy, I think. But yeah, I cranked up the heat on the dumbbells 3 different times. It was like light to start, and I was like, nah, they gotta be a little heavier. And I was like, nah, okay, they're gonna be a little heavier still. Like I came back to it and I was like, we haven't seen dumbbells that heavy, so let's see it. Nice.
I agree. We have I think like a smut novel happening in our stuff. All right. So the max lift, definitely an easy one to talk about. But we don't have the same one, which is fun. Oh man, undo.
I just picked something we never have seen before in this way.
Whoa, holy shit. It's way too big. Nope, that didn't work. All right. What's happening? I can do this. I can't grab there we go. So you had a back squat ladder. Anyways, you had a back squat ladder. I had a overhead squat ladder. That was the difference.
Oh, okay.
And I went overhead squat because I was listening to something or reading somewhere old article that Greg felt like the overhead squat was like the ultimate like stability / strength test, like over encompassing like all things. And I know we've done like an attempt. And I just felt like just like a pure ladder, like the old school 2013 clean ladder, like someone starts and then they just go. And if they fail, like it's like just like a train and they just keep going. And then you just, we just make, I don't know, and you can't snatch balance. I wanted to make sure that you weren't allowed to snatch balance because I felt like that gives a skill advantage that I want to take away.
You really think there's going to be people at the games that are way better at snatch balance than just a pure overhead squat?
Noah Olson snatched, but this was 6 years ago. He snatch balanced 365, and there's no way he could have jerked it from behind the neck. That's why he snatch balanced it. And that's the only reason why. And not taking away anything from him. It was fucking wild. No. I couldn't believe it.
I think that's super rare.
It is rare, but I wanted to take it away because I wanted to but yes, I do believe people will snatch. If you are a great
I don't know. I kind of want to see Noah Olson snatch balance 365.
But I wanted to take it away. I wanted to get the athlete to stabilize overhead and then go.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that.
I think 95% of people aren't going to do that, but I like the overhead squat ladder. That was a really cool event. When I remember what year that was. That was quite a few years ago, but it was
14.
It was like when Tommy Hackenbrook was still crushing it, and he was calling a shot. He was going to hit 400, and Froning was maybe going to hit 400. That was. Yeah. I like the back squat that Seth has. I think the overhead squat's pretty cool to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if you guys have much snatch or overhead squats the rest of the weekend though.
Well, I certainly like the overhead squat too, but based on my final, I could never use both. But that's okay. We can totally go with the overhead squat for the strength ladder, and then we can just look at the final and decide what to do with it. But yeah.
All right. All right. So we're cutting to 20. In case anyone didn't notice. All right. We're almost done. I
will say I'm satisfied with what we tested, beyond satisfied to cut to 20 at this point. Beyond satisfied.
Yeah. I think it's a balanced test for sure. I think both of these, like, we're leaning into the smaller athlete at this point. Even with the max dumbbell thruster.
Both of which ones we're leaning? Which?
I think these two are leaning to the smaller athlete. I think we're gonna. I don't know if 80-55s are heavy enough. I mean, they're obviously very heavy, but I don't think they're gonna create that separation. I think this is gonna be a very balanced test. I think this benefits our smaller athlete as well. Same with here, even with the hand over hand pull. But I do think we're very, bigger athlete dominant early on into this, and then I think it's a balanced test across the board.
It's reasonable.
It's reasonable. Yeah. I mean, we did this in an hour.
Yeah.
All right. Look at that. We did it.
We're on Sunday. We've made it to Sunday.
On Sunday. I know, right? So here are our two tests. And so, Seth, go ahead.
So this was like the first time I went like classic CrossFit with it. Just real simple, another little chipper, 75 snatches at 75-55. So basically kicking things off with Randy into 50 toes to bar, into 25 dumbbell box step overs, 70s and 50s. It's just like straight through chipper grind. Like, you need to be strategic about when you're going to break, how you're going to break it, but there's nothing holding anybody back. You can basically go dang near full throttle through different sections of this. So just like a real raw test of fitness, in my opinion.
Yeah, I really liked it. I went 100-foot handstand walk. We hadn't had handstand walks at this point, and then I didn't have them later on. 50 chest to bar, 30 burpee box get overs, 50 chest to bar, 100-foot handstand walk. So I mean, I think the feel overall is I feel like it's pretty similar, right? I think it's an overall. I
think we need to do. I think we need to unleash the next 2 days as well, and then decide the things we want to keep and get rid of, because it will be too hard to use each other's workouts otherwise.
I agree.
We'll look at the whole day of Sunday and then shift as we need.
Whoa, that didn't work. Nope.
Because I think we have a lot of the same movements. They're just scattered across the day.
Yeah, I agree. They are. All right. And so I went just like pure classic CrossFit. 5 rounds for just a full burn it down. Very like the feel of kind of like Helena from last year, but just a pure couplet on the last day. I just think it would be really exciting, even if it was outside or inside. 5 rounds for time, 400 meter run, 15 power snatches. Pretty heavy. I think being unbroken there would be, they're sprinting. It's going to be really, really tough. And so I just wanted to see something just like real true blue, kind of like obviously like a Nancy feel to it. Just, I think I had overhead squats first, but then I had overhead squats on, or thrusters on here, but I think it was overhead squats first, and then I changed it to power snatch but the last workout. While I do talk to me about 11 while I put in the next one.
Yeah. I like your workout a lot. I went like, I went a little weird with it, just a different interval style that we hadn't really seen before. So it's 2 rounds for time, 25/20 calorie ski, 100-foot handstand walk, 50-foot out and back, 30 weighted pistols with a plate. So you hold like a plate out in front with both hands on the plate, and then 15 burpee box jump overs with a higher box. Just 2 rounds of that. It's not crazy, but the time style would be 60 seconds to work as far as you could. And then they'd call you off for 30 seconds where it's a mandatory rest. And so they do a 60-second work, 30-second mandatory rest, which kind of, again, gives a unique strategy to this. Like, how hard do you want to push and how much can you recover in that mandatory 30 seconds off to get through the 2 rounds? It's a little different. I don't actually know if it's great or how it would play out. I just wanted to build something that's out there a bit, I think. So I just took a chance on it.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a good workout. Another interval style, but I do like it. All right, let's do this one so that we are on the same page. Okay. All right, and so they look very similar. So they're both the same starting point, right? And we agreed on that before we did the actual workout. And holy shit, what's happening? I don't even know what's going on here. I'm new to Canva, just grabbing a bunch of shit. Undo. There we go. And so
we both went with 100 calorie bike to start.
Yeah, we did.
Cool.
All right, there we go.
So final 2-parter. Did you think about, you want it to be 2 100-point tests to finish?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
And so so mine was 100 standing cal biker, 80 for the ladies, 4 time, and then on the 7-minute, 30 muscle ups, overhead walking lunge to finish. 2-part scored. Bike's going to be done in 4 minutes ish. And so 3 minutes rest. It's going to be tough. They're going to be pretty much at red line. And so I think it's just going to make the strategy a little bit more. I still think the same person's going to get off the muscle ups that would fresh. But I do think it just creates more strategy, right? Because I think so many people just know what their 30 muscle up is, but they don't know what their 30 muscle up is when they can't, like, then they're sucking so much wind and they're full, like lactic overload at that point. So that was my thought process there.
Yeah, they definitely don't get that same opening set that they would fresh. So it definitely changes it. So I did the same thing with the bike cals. I let them rest till 8 minutes. So I gave them an 8-minute window. And then I redid that old regionals workout, 64 this time, chest to bar pull-ups into 8 overhead squats, 235, 160. Weight's still pretty reasonable, but you have a little extra fatigue from the chest to bar, so the chin over bar from that pull, and then the weight's a little heavier than it was literally 10 years ago now. And so still makes for a great race. You're still going to see the best hammer down and do it, but the added fatigue coming off the bike and then hitting that, I think would make a very exciting finish for the games.
Yeah.
I really like that workout. I feel like the lunge is great. It's always, a good race. It's just been used so many times now. And I like your little ode to 2013 regionals. It would be cool to see, how it's progressed, because people were doing that pretty close to unbroken back then, but this would be very tough to go unbroken. And the overhead squats were very dramatic to finish there. This would be a cool finish. But I also do like 30 muscle ups. I think that you'd see some, even tired, you'd see some cool scores.
Yeah, I could go with either. Both have, in my opinion, the rest of the pulling we needed to finish the weekend off from day one to now. I think both accomplished the goal. So I'm good with either. But that's why I didn't have overhead squat the day before. So if the overhead squat on the ladder is the deciding factor, then you would probably go with your variation of it. Or you could even, no, he'd probably go this. So you could combine the two, but you still don't want overhead squat back-to-back days.
It could be a front. I mean, it could be a front squat that's like super heavy from the ground, like a 315 or something like that.
I think that would be just as dramatic. I think that'd be cool.
So like,
Seth, why are you so mean to the ladies? 100/90 calorie biker.
They're mean to them. They've come along so far. They're making the guys look bad. I'm not mean to them.
They are on the rower. They are on the rower. They're like, some of their row paces, like like Tia,
it's crazy.
and holding 14 to 1500. But I don't think on the bike. I don't think they're there.
So what would you do? 85 instead of 90?
I did 80. I mean, I think it's 80. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a little bit faster, but I still think it's there. So are we going with muscle ups plus front squats, 8 front squats at like 315 or something like that?
That's cool.
I think that'd be cool. I like that.
All right. So we're 8 front squats. All right. So
you just also decided another piece of the puzzle by choosing the muscle ups. Now we're definitely doing weighted pull up the day before. We're not doing the low
right
rung
muscle ups. Right. Yeah, for sure. That was also the other thing. I don't even know what's happening over here. Nope. We're just going to not fuck with that. It's just going to be there. That's what it's going to look like. Anyways. All right. So we went with weighted muscle up. Boom, boom. All right. So overhead squat here. Decided. All right. So we have muscle up, front squat, biker, 2 squat event. And then
that workout Seth has is so grippy right there.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
For sure.
It is.
Randy into I haven't had did we choose yours for handstand walks earlier?
I don't think we have handstand walks in there yet.
No, we don't have them in there yet. There's no handstand walks.
For sure.
So
I thought we did. Okay.
I don't think so.
We chose otherwise. Okay.
No.
So I think we definitely need a handstand walk. And I chose like a really long, I really wanted it to be like even, I know we did like the burpee over here. So this could probably needs to change. Like this could be 30 box step overs. That would fit, I think pretty nicely if we kept this, or we just take this to a 100-foot handstand walk and just make it a handstand walk workout.
That's what I would do. I would probably do that and use your workout. And then I would probably, if it was solely up to me, shift my workout from that day down to event 11 because we both have power snatch and then we have power snatches there. So I would shift my event 10 into 11 and then I would use your event 10 and that covers a lot of things.
I see what you're
because
saying.
So you have the handstand walk covered, and then you have the snatches down there, but then you can have the toe to bar in there. And then you're separating the only thing I would then say if we did that is the bar volume is a little high for the 2 back to back. You have the 100 chest to bar into the 50 toe to bar into 30 muscle ups, even though muscle ups is not bar, but you get my point. So maybe the toe to bar end up being GHDs or something like that, or something else.
We haven't had GHDs.
In event 11.
Or that fits. What if that fits kind of like 75 GHGs there?
Yeah, that works too instead. But then you have to take out the toaster bar then in the next workout. If you use the 75, so we'd use the snatch for sure, and then we basically have snatch, the box step ups or the burpee box overs, whatever you want to use, some variation of that. Maybe running again if you want another running event, but I don't think you need it because you have so much running through the weekend just with transitions and moving, and we have the 10K or 11K to start. I think you could do that, but I think there's other movements we haven't hit yet.
Sure. Yeah, but I don't know if we've done, and so this is like where I think that's where I put in the run there is like a pure couplet or a triplet with like running as like a primary. Like I know we have a zigzag sprint in this like obstacle, but that's not like a, like a threshold running, right? I know the 11K is, but I mean, it's just such a different run. And so that's where my head was at. But I'm fine either way. I like this workout a lot. I think this is spicy. Kevin, does this need to be 100 GHGs?
I think 75's.
It's close.
I don't know because
I know it's close.
It's close. I think 75 looks nice.
Yeah, it's the end of the weekend too.
I do like that workout as written. I am going to have to pass the director of fun baton. I'm going to have to hop off this call here.
All right. Cool, man.
All right. Good luck. Best of luck finishing this up.
All right, buddy.
I think we're there. I think we're almost there. See you later.
Almost there.
According to Trish, I got to go sell some Subarus. So
yeah,
I like it.
Get that sale.
Everyone, Savant's hopped on. That's why everyone's gone. All right. So, okay. So I like this. Do we want to change this to?
It's got to be anything else.
Literally anything else.
Literally anything we haven't used. Could even be, let's see, we haven't had a burpee since the pig day. So,
we took away the burpee. I think a burpee would.
Oh, did we take it? We didn't take it away. We just took less. There's less burpees.
This is the only burpee. This is the only burpee. So, and it's not that many. So it could be the burpee there, or we just make it like we just do 50 box step overs.
Or you could do the box. You could do that, or you could do a number of burpee dumbbell box step overs if you wanted to make it. If you wanted to bring the burpee back again, you don't have to, but just a thought. Or just 50 step overs.
God, it's gonna be so shitty.
Grip. Yeah, actually, I don't hate that. Actually, Randy into 50 step overs. I actually don't hate that.
That looks like a jump ship workout, by the way.
Kind of does.
That definitely looks like a jump ship workout. I like this. Oh. Not the most exciting, but you can move the box and it would be exciting.
If you move the bar every 25 reps and then you move the box every 10 reps or something.
Yeah, just moving your way down the field. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. That was good. What I'll do is I will clean this up and then make a post, let people maybe like vote on it or something of how good or bad it was. Give some opinions on it. There we go.
I think we did good given the amount of time we actually put into this. Like
I agree.
We took years of experience of being there and then decided to rewrite a CrossFit Games season in a matter of a couple hours. So all things considered, I'd say we did a pretty successful little adventure.
Yeah, I agree. Well, hey, thanks for those who stuck around. There's a lot of CrossFit content on tonight. So make sure to tune into all the other shows. I'm going to try and get back on here in like an hour and a half to talk about what's been posted, and announced, the Mana 45, the sprint run, which has flipped, which is now the run sprint, which I think makes way more sense. I think that's a good call. The clean weights have been announced. And so, we'll try and be on later. If not, I am going to be on at 7 a.m. for coffee and some CrossFit, to anyone who wants to join super early. So enjoy, guys. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time. Peace. End stream. I didn't time it up.